Welcome to this gathering hosted by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. Whether you are here in person or online, we are so glad that you are joining with us. My name is John Foreman. I'll be your service associate today. And today's theme is commitment. So each of us have committed to be here physically or physically online viewing this. So why don't we commit to bringing our best listening self to the party and an open mind. We might be surprised what we can learn from each other. So again, welcome. We're glad you're here. Please set your cell phones to silent so we can be fully present with one another. This service is being live streamed now, and in a small lounge near the main entrance of the building. If this large room isn't comfortable for you, you can go to the lounge to watch the service. We are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you come from, and whoever you love, you are welcome here. Our Sunday services are different each week, so that we can honor and learn from our wide array of traditions and beliefs. Today, our speaker is Janeen Grossmeyer, who will be speaking about commitment is the theme, and the title of the message, I have lost it. Putting your whole self in. Thank you for the help. So that's a good reminder. I need to put my whole self in, don't I? Janeen, I'm going to go ahead and share her bio at this point in time. Janeen became a Unitarian Universalist in 1996, and she joined this UU congregation in Bowling Green about 11 years ago. She is currently serving on the Sunday services team and the communication team. Janeen is also involved in the Green Sanctuary effort, and she is committed to turning her yard and garden into a habitat for native butterflies and birds. She enjoys strong coffee, single malt whiskey, and puzzles of all kinds. So at this point in time, we will have a reading and light our chalice. For Unitarian Universalists, the flaming chalice is a symbol of the light of learning and the love of our community. As our congregation's chalice is lit, we invite you, viewing online, to light your own chalice. This morning, Gail Renfro will share the reading, and I will light the chalice.
In the bleak and cold winter, we gather ourselves in to light the fire to warm our spirits, to kindle the flame of love and hope.
Thank you, Gail. At this time, we will sing Rise Up, O Flame. Rise up, O flame. This morning, Lisa will be giving our opening reading.
Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside and back again, from here to there, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation, from what we were and what we are to what we can be. In this hour and in this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into space and time, attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life, pregnant with possibilities. How will we be renewed in this moment? How will we be changed by this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of beloved community? Come, you longing, thirsting souls. Come, let us worship together. Arlen Goff.
And now we'll have our opening hymn. Please rise in body and spirit as we sing together, "'Tis the Gift to be Simple," number 16 in the gray hymnal.
We will...
Good job. I hope those of you watching online joined with us. So now we will have a unison reading, Transformation. Do we have a slide for that? Yes. Okay, I invite you to join with me as we read this together. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. So now I'd like to invite Janeen to share A Time for All Ages.
Can you hear me now? Yay, okay. So when I was about 5 years old, my family went on a vacation, just for the weekend, to a lake. And the lake water was cold. So I touched the water. My sister said, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. So I touched the water. Man, that was cold. So I took my hand and I shook it like that. I was like, ooh, that's too cold. She said, go ahead, the water's fine. So I said, well, maybe it's better with the other hand. No, that's still cold. By now, I've got older brothers and sisters. They're in the water. They say, come on, Janeen, you can do this. Come on, come on, come on, come on. So 1 foot in. Nope. Even colder on the foot. 1 foot in. Nope. Cold on that foot, too. And now my mom's watching, and she says, hey, stop that hokey pokeying and get on in. Hokey Pokey is a song. You may have heard it. It's talking about getting in. First, you try things just a little. Maybe they're not quite what you expected. Maybe it's a little scary, but you try it again, maybe a little different. And after a while, you know what? You're ready to put your whole head in. But not me, not the lake. I wasn't sticking my head in that lake water. My sister did. She did. She dunked her whole head in like that. And all the water came out and got all over me. So I got wet whether I wanted to or not. Well, that first day, I didn't go in the lake all the way. I did get both feet in the water. But the second day, we were there for the whole weekend. The second day, I jumped in the lake. And it was fine. I put my whole self in that lake water. And we had a good time playing and splashing. So sometimes things are a little scary. Things aren't what you expect. Maybe they're different. But sometimes you can keep going, and then they're a lot of fun. And you don't have to keep hokey pokey in your whole way through life. So thanks for listening to that short story about a lake a long time ago. At this time, we're going to invite you all to go to your Sunday religious exploration classes with your teacher, and we are going to sing you on your way. Forrest, hit it. Here we go. Here we go.
Go lifted up, oh, bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, by your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
We will now have a few moments for meditation, reflection, and prayer. I will invite the singing bowl, and it will lead us into silence. After the silence, you're invited to join in the song Spirit of Life, hymn number 123 in the gray hymnal, or the words on the screen.
Commitment. There are movies about people who are afraid of commitment. And usually they're done as comedies, failure to launch, people afraid to settle down. But there are a lot of ways we commit to things during our lives. In my closet, I have a box full of little tiny squares of cloth that I cut out, different colors, with the intention of sewing, piecing them together, and making a quilt. And that was 27 years ago. And that box has moved with me 3 times and is still in my closet. I have committed to doing that, but apparently not with any sense of urgency. I think we all have things that we said we were going to do or that we plan to do. Really, we really do. Honest. We do. And sometimes they really don't get done. I did see a bumper sticker once on a car. It said, "Quilters, may you have in heaven all the time to finish the projects you started here on earth," which is a quilter's idea of heaven. But we do have to pick and choose the projects and the things we commit to. We cannot finish everything. We cannot do everything we want to in our lives. So it's important to know what it is you're committing to. At this time of year, many of us make New Year's resolutions. And a resolution, in my mind, is a little different. It's something I'm resolving to do for myself. That box of squares, cloth squares, doesn't care if I ever sew it, if I ever open it again. It has no feelings to hurt. If I make a commitment to a living thing, however, that's different. That's a deeper level of commitment and requires more commitment from me, to use the same word back again. So we commit to things, projects that we want to get done. We commit to ourselves, things we're going to do to learn French. How many of us were going to learn a language when COVID happened? Anybody? Okay. So maybe you had commitments, things you meant to do for yourself and you still haven't done them yet. And if you break a commitment to yourself, well, it's just you. You can deal with that. You can adjust your life to make sense of it. We make commitments to groups. We've joined groups in our lives. How many people belong to, okay, we're here, so we're in this church. How many people belong to another group outside of this church? 2, 3, 4, 5? How many groups do we belong to a lot of different groups. But if we step back from a group, there are other people in the group. It's not usually such a cataclysmic change for that group if one of us steps back. If all of us step back from a group, the group does fall apart. So when we make a commitment to a group, it's important that before we step back, we ask somebody else to take up what we've been doing. When we commit to an individual, a child, a lifelong partner, a pet, a plant, you have committed to be part of their lives. And that's a lifelong commitment for many things. There's a reason our marriage vows say, "Till death do us part." It is a promise that we commit to each other through sickness and health, richer for poor, in all the difficult ways that life might bring us. And it's a commitment, it's a vow. And there's a reason we expect each other to vow to this, because it's hard to stay with somebody all that time. It's hard to make relationships work. It's hard to stick with it through thick and thin, through better, through poor, richer and worse. And so the vow is a reminder to us of the seriousness of the commitment we have chosen to make. And it's important that we remember that, and it helps us get through the tough times. They may not always be fun. They may be difficult. The vow may help us stick it out, see if we can't make it work somehow, and maybe we can't. Maybe it's just something we need to uncommit from. And that's okay too. If life comes to you to a point the relationship is toxic, it's destructive, it's not healthy for whatever reason, or you've come to a place in your life where you need to uncommit from something that you in good faith committed to 5, 10, 20 years ago, but you need to say to your partner, "I need to let go, and I need you to let go of me." But that's not something to be done lightly or casually. I know I was engaged, and I said to somebody I had been dating, I said, I'm engaged to this other guy now. And he says, that's great, that's great. You know, if it doesn't work, you can call me up. And I said, that's not really the way I want to go into that relationship. But he'd been married 3 times, and so to him it was just, well, you know, you date for a while, you get married, and then if it doesn't work, you break up, and then you get married again. And I've been married almost 40 years now, so some of us have different opinions, you know, different ideas of what we're getting into when we commit to a person. And it's important that the 2 of you figure, or 3 of you, or 4, however many are in your group, that you understand, or you at least talk about what you expect from each other as the relationship develops. And I've been talking there about commitments between 2 adults. Another commitment that many of us make, often by choice but not always, is to a child. And that is a lifelong commitment. That is not a commitment that you can really walk away from. We do sometimes, and sometimes we need to, sometimes it's in the best interest of the child, but it's hard to do that. It's hard on the child, it's hard on you. We know that we are supposed to take care of our children, and we only really have to do it until they're, 18 and grown up, but most of us maintain relationships with our children, adult children, into their lives. And they commit to us as well. I know I rely on my children to do things for me. When my mother grew older and needed help, all 5 of her children and her children-in-law came to help her in her last days. It was a very special time. It was a difficult time, but we were caring for her. She had cared for us when we were little and couldn't do anything, and now she was bedridden. She needed help with basic life functions. And it was awkward, but it was deeply meaningful, and it really brought us, her children, to appreciate what she had done for us and to learn to appreciate each other as the 5 of us spent time with our mother and with each other in her final days before we said goodbye. And that was a very special time, and it was a commitment that all of us made, that we would care for her. She said, I don't want to go to a home. I want to die in my own bed. And she did. She was born at home in 1930 in a farm in upstate New York, and she died at home. And so we were glad that we didn't need to put her in a home. A lot of times the healthcare situation is such that you do, and it's best for everybody. But when they want to stay home, and if you can, and if there's enough of you to help it out, it's an important commitment, and you learn from it too, even as they learn from you. So one of the other ways we commit, and I wanted to talk about committing person to person, letting go of that when we need to, staying with it when it's hard. But another commitment many of us make is to a religious organization. And this is why I started with the hokey pokey, because when I first came to a Unitarian church, I went to one, I said, well, that was kind of interesting. I liked some of it, put one hand in, and then I went away for a while. But my friend was going, and so I'm going to try it again. And the next time I went, I stayed and went to a different activity. So I put my other hand in. And I went away for a while. Next time I came back and I got involved in something else they were doing, you put the foot in, you put the foot out. And I put my head in, and that spun me all about. Because when I heard what they were talking, I really listened to the message of this church. I had been raised Catholic. I didn't ask a lot of questions at the age I was a Catholic. But when I got to this church, it was all questions, like lots and lots and lots of questions. And one of their phrases was, come in and have your answers questioned. And as I said, in my bio, I like puzzles, and that was fun. I thought, cool, we get to talk about stuff. We get to explore things. Nobody's going to tell you, oh, you can't ask that. You can't think that. That's not allowed. We didn't really have things that were heresy that you couldn't even ever discuss. And so the questions, the conversations, the people I met at a Unitarian Universalist congregation, really, when I put my head in, I didn't feel like I really needed to take my head out again because I was getting turned around just by being in the congregation. And I think that's one reason I've stayed as a Unitarian Universalist for a long time. And I used to say, people say, well, what are you? And I say, well, I go to the Unitarian Universalist church. And it took me a long time before I was comfortable saying, I am a Unitarian Universalist. It took me a while to put my whole self in and say, I am committing to this religion. I'm committing to this congregation, the people in it, the movement, the principles, and what we stand for. And it has been a life-changing experience. It has turned me around, and I've learned a lot, and I've explored a lot, and I'm still learning from everybody. There's always more to learn, and that's one of the other things I like about this religion. One of the other phrases you might hear is, revelation is not sealed. There is always more being revealed. We are always learning. We don't have one single book that was written thousands of years ago and is finished. We are writing our own book, and we are adding to it and changing it. We have 8 principles now. We didn't used to have the principles. We had 6 for a long time, and then they added 7, and recently they added 8. They're not handed down from on high. They are done, yes, you guessed it, in a committee. And then they're voted on. They're discussed and argued and tweaked and changed, and then we all vote on them, because that's how Unitarian Universalists learn things, is from each other and with conversation. We committed to that path. We've committed to go down that path together. Our path can sometimes diverge. Sometimes we go off this way, some of us go off this way, but the mainstream carries us all along together, and we work together as Unitarian Universalists. The quote that was up here at the beginning is from Abraham Lincoln: commitment transforms a promise into a reality. So when we commit to a religious organization, when we work to make it happen, when we work to deal with each other, to accept one another, to not get too cranky with each other when they don't do things the way we think they ought to be doing them, which does happen. But when we commit to being with each other and being in a congregation and making the work of the church happen, we can transform our promise, our goals, our ideals of a wonderful world. We can make that a reality. And so I invite you all to commit to the religion. We're here today, so I'm assuming many of you are already committing to Unitarian Universalist. If at some time you commit to a different religion and find that is your path, then that is the path you should be following. But commit to making the world a better place, working with each other, and taking care of each other. And that's a short talk today, but that's what I had to say. So I'm going to stop that there, and thank you all for listening. I do have a responsive reading, and I invite you to share it with me. If we could go on to the next slide. Now, the Washington Post does a contest, and they invite people to rewrite things. And in the year 2003, they had an invitation to write things in the manner of Shakespeare. And a fellow named Jeff Brecklin wrote this. And I'm going to read the top, and you all read the stuff in italics and bolds. And you'll figure out what he's talking about as we get into this Shakespearean style. Oh, proud left foot that ventures quick within. Then soon upon a backward journey lie. Anon, once more the gesture, then begin. Commence thou then the fervid hokey poke. To spin a wild release from heaven's yoke. The hoke, the poke, banish now thy doubt. Verily I say, 'tis what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Janeen. We really appreciate the message. So at this time, I would like to extend an invitation to membership. If you have questions about Unitarian Universalism or about joining this congregation, please speak with a member of our membership team. Have we got anybody here today? Yes, there's some hands up scattered in the center section. Thank you for that. On second Sundays after the service, you can join in a question and answer session. That would be today. At about 12:15, the membership team will be in the Emerson Library. I hope you remembered that, membership team. Right out that door, past the bulletin board, which is on my left. You can get a drink and a snack in the fellowship hall across the way and then bring them over to the library for that discussion if you're interested. If that time isn't convenient, you can always email membership here at the church, and the information's on the bulletin board. And look for people with a sticker shaped like, or look for people with a sticker shaped like an open book on their name tag. Might be a little hard to see, but you can be an opportunity to meet the person anyway. The membership team is always happy to talk with you about Unitarian Universalism. At this time, we will have an offering. Most weeks, the congregation and the work we do is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who contribute. Actually, it's every week this congregation is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who are in here. The offering is a sacrament of the free church. You may place your donation in the plate as it comes to you or on the way out. You can use the QR codes. Yes, they're still on the screen. Or donate via our website or mail checks directly to our office. As we enjoy the music, the offering will be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. We thank you for these gifts. May we use them wisely in the service of our congregation and our community. And now we will have some community news. In addition to the membership Q&A in the library today at 12:15, we have 2 more events going on today at the church. Everyone is invited to a discussion about paths to earth-centered spirituality. The discussion starts at 12:45 in the TV lounge on the ground floor of the fellowship hall. The event is sponsored by Earth Circle. The research group for memory, aging, and dementia will also meet today at 1 p.m. in the library. If you are interested, you are welcome to join in that discussion. During January, we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. There are events happening in many communities. In Bowling Green, they start on Thursday, January the 16th. Please talk with Diane Lewis or email Social Justice here at the church for more information. Also during January, we are collecting donations for Guests at Your Table, which is a program of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. Donations help advance community-led human rights initiatives around the world. Next week, on January 19th, please bring what you have collected at home to the service. Our guest speaker that day is Reverend Dr. Michelle Pedersen, who will be joining us from Nashville. We hope you can be with us next Sunday, either in person or online. And our final hymn today will be Let It Be a Dance, number 311. It's in the gray hymnal, and I believe we'll have the words on the screen as well. Yes. I invite you to stand as you're willing and able, and share in the music.
And John Downing, I'm going to ask you to lead this for us, if you would. Could you come up and lead this, Let It Be a Dance We Do? John Downing, could you lead this for us? Yeah, you. Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you.
We're doing an audible here, so give us a minute.
This is outside our bulletin board. I said something like, "We know the tune before we begin to sing. Let's just see. let's just see if that's the case."
Thank you.
Do you have a hymnal?
It's right there on the table.
Let it get ready. And,
Yeah, we will adapt. Here you go. Here you go.
Don't stand in front of the projector.
Yeah.
Let it be a dance. Let it be a dancing song. Play the music, say the words. Fill up time with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. Bring the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and grin. Let your body turn to bend. And goodbye with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the whole must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take you to an ass's by. this dance with you. The good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. The morning sun comes out at night. Without dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sun shine, let it rain. Where the laughter burns the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance. Dance with you. Let me have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let your hands be heard. May the music say the word.
So we really do it, didn't we?
You can do it again?
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. And now I'd like to invite Klaus up to share a final reading with us.
Commitment. People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. Dorothy Day.
We invite you to share your thoughts about today's service. You can use the online form or the QR code, and you can send the comments to Sunday services here at the church. For those of you who are here in person, there's also a blue box in the lobby where you can leave suggestions or comments. And if by chance you're trying to find the QR code again, we do have it on the bulletin board outside if it disappears before you get a chance to use it. At this time, I would like to say farewell to our online friends. We bid you farewell who have joined us today online. We hope you found this service meaningful, and we invite you to join us again either in person or online. Be well and go in peace.